Small talk. Meyer was a reader. You wouldn't expect a guy like that to be a reader, but he was an omnivorous. He read news. He read all sorts of books, fiction and nonfiction. In 1975, when I was working as the Herald's organized crime reporter, a statewide grand jury summoned Meyer Lansky to testify in Fort Lauderdale. This happened from time to time. It was a showboat thing. Meyer went to grand juries, never told anybody anything, spent hours. And they had always given him and his lawyer, David Rosen, the courtesy of an empty office in which to hide from media. Not this time. Not this time. There was no place for him to go except a wide spot in the hallway outside the grand jury hearing room where all the newspaper and TV and, at that time, radio people were. He couldn't run away from us. And so we were there making mostly small talk. I'm making notes all the time of what stuff he would look at and say, nothing. But he found that he liked reporters. He didn't know it before because he had always avoided us. And he told me that he was reading my stuff each day. I wasn't writing every day because it was nothing. It was the kind of thing you went to in case something happened. Meyer Lansky has a stroke or something, outside chances. And there came a time during this when my editor said, try to turn all this into a story. Little stuff, but I had notes. And it worked. It was a really interesting story about Meyer Lansky, the notorious gangster, surrounded by all these people he'd been avoiding for years. And it worked, and he liked it. He said, I'm fascinated by how you use all these little nothing tidbits and make such a good story out of it. We're talking about this. At this time, I'm sorry if I'm rambling. At this time, I was waiting for word about my application for a Niemanship, a Nieman Fellowship at Harvard. Do I need to describe what that was?
Sure.
The Nieman Fellowship is a journalist's sabbatical, a mid-career thing at Harvard. It was endowed by the widow of a Milwaukee publisher named Nieman. And it was essentially an open door to everything in Harvard. Anything you wanted to do that Harvard had to offer, you could do. Highly competitive. I think there were a dozen each year. And I was waiting for the word. I knew I was a finalist. Now, in this hallway outside the grand jury room, there was a single pay phone. There were no cell phones then, remember? We're in 1975. And I told everybody, that I was waiting for this call. There was one phone. And I wasn't going to ask them not to use the phone, but if they had to make a call, please try to keep it short. And everybody said, okay. So one day, the phone rang. Let me go back. Meyer Lansky had to make a call. He said to me, I need to make a call. I'll keep it short. It'll only be a minute. Okay, don't worry. Go ahead. So he made his call, hung up, and before he could walk away from the phone, it rang. Hello? He looked at me. It's for you. I was halfway down the hall already because I was anticipating. It's for you. And he hung at about the distance you're standing in anticipation. And it was the call. It was it. And I came down from the ceiling and he said, you won the fellowship? I said, yeah. He said, that's wonderful. Congratulations. So the first person to congratulate me on winning the Nieman Fellowship was Meyer Lansky, the famous gangster.